Prone to infections or have flu-like symptoms or sores, don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Talk to your doctor and visit Humira.com. This is Humira at work.
Stanley Steamer is the first carpet cleaning service certified asthma and allergy friendly. It's our new standard of clean. Call about our $99 carpet cleaning special.
Call 1-800-STEAMER. Stanley Steamer, your certified cleaner.
Jim's hair is perfect. So's his serve. But like up to 90% of us, Jim falls short in getting important nutrients from food alone. Jim, here's $2 off One-A-Day multivitamins to get key nutrients you may need. Go to oneaday.com for savings.
Research suggests cell health plays a key role throughout our lives. One-A-Day Men's 50 Plus is a complete multivitamin designed for men's health concerns as we age, with 7 antioxidants to support cell health. One-A-Day Men's 50 Plus.
She's still the one for you, and Cialis for daily use helps you be ready anytime the moment is right. Cialis is also the only daily ED tablet approved to treat symptoms of BPH, like needing to go frequently. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and medicines, and ask if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Do not drink alcohol in excess. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, get medical help right away for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease or loss in hearing or vision, or any allergic reactions like rash, hives, swelling of the lips, tongue, or throat, or difficulty breathing or swallowing, stop taking Cialis and get medical help right away. Ask your doctor about Cialis for daily use and a free 30-tablet trial.
Up next at 6, the traffic stop that got a police officer fired. Hear what was said to the woman he pulled over, and how did a teen escape DCS transport? Could it be no one was watching him? The latest from the Channel 4 I-Team coming your way next at 6.
Test, test, test. Hello.
Mic check, Lisa.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Lisa, can you stand up at your monitor?
Do it.
The scandals would have wiped them out.
Picture with the iPhone.
Right.
This is a first for me.
Really?
But luxury has a price.
When you factor in how much you're using this device any given time in a day, it's worth it.
A brand new iPhone 6, the most basic version without a contract, will run you about $650. Yes, it's expensive. But think about this. On average, we check our phones 150 times a day. So at $650, you're looking at $4 every time you check your phone the first day. After a month, that number drops down to 14 cents. After 6 months, it's just 2 cents to look at your phone, and that's not that bad. But do we really need it? As Apple CEO Tim Cook told Brian Williams,
Our whole role in life is to give you something you didn't know you wanted.
Whether you want it or not, if it's as slippery as some of the critics claim, you'll want a good carrying case, so we won't need a new iPhone 6 right away. Jenna Wolf, NBC News, New York.
That is our broadcast on a Wednesday night. Thank you for being here with us. I'm Brian Williams. We, of course, hope to see you right back here tomorrow evening. Good night.
What do you expect? That's unbelievable.
Tonight, a getaway that could have been stopped. What our I-Team uncovered about a teenager's escape from custody. It may look like an ordinary traffic stop, but wait until you hear what happened after one officer turned off his dash cam. And why would a murder victim's family agree to a sentence many felt was too light? The reason behind Randy Maidens' last-minute plea deal.
Working for you in high definition, this is Channel 4 News at 6.
Good evening and welcome to Channel 4 News at 6. Just how difficult was it for a teenager to slip away from DCS custody on a trip from Memphis to Nashville?
The Channel 4 team has uncovered new information that puts an entirely new spin on what happened. The escape happened a week ago today. The 17-year-old escaped in Bellevue, causing a school to lock down and an extensive police search. The I-team has been digging into how he got away, but what we found is raising even more questions. Channel 4's Nancy Amons joins us now with the details. Nancy.
Well, it didn't require a complex Houdini act. The I-team has learned that the 17-year-old convicted burglar ran from DCS custody after he was left alone. This is 17-year-old Bruno Valencia, just minutes after he was captured by Metro Police a week ago. They caught him in a Bellevue fast food parking lot. A few hours earlier, Valencia ran as he was being transported from a juvenile facility in Memphis to a DCS meeting in Nashville. We're getting a clearer picture tonight of how he managed to get away. According to this police report, the person driving Valencia went to the restroom at the MAPCO, leaving Valencia outside, telling the suspect to stay until he got back. The driver is the man you see here wearing shorts, Daryl Terry. He was driving for a DCS private contractor called Omnivisions. Daryl Terry had his wife Loretta with him. I talked to a clerk who was working at this MAPCO the day this all happened. She can't go on camera, but says the man and the woman both came in at the same time. They got coffee and were taking a break. The clerk says the man went out to the parking lot, then ran back in, saying the teenager had run away. Valencia was captured a few miles away after a police manhunt.
Police can't catch nobody. Turn myself in.
Representative Sherry Jones is a frequent critic of DCS. We showed her what we found.
How can you be the person responsible for a teenager, two people, and you both get out of the car and leave the teenager? What do you expect? That's unbelievable.
Teens on the run, that's a sensitive issue for DCS after 32 teens escaped during a riot at Woodland Hills Youth Development Center earlier this month.
It's just another hole in the system, totally.
So who are Daryl and Loretta Terry? Omnivisions now confirms they are foster parents from Robertson County, but not Valencia's foster parents. Omnivision says it often calls on its foster parents to provide transportation for kids in custody. It's a policy they're now rethinking. And Omnivisions now confirms that the state offered to provide a secure state vehicle for the ride. They offered to meet Omnivisions part way between Memphis and Nashville, but Omnivisions declined. Now, as we first reported last week, this was the second time in a month that Omnivisions had a teen escape custody during a transport. There was also an escape on September 2nd, also in Bellevue. Tom?
Nancy, thanks. Dash cams allow police departments to see what happened during a traffic stop. But in this case, it's what wasn't shown that cost an officer his job. We will never know for sure what happened during that stop because the officer shut off his dash cam before talking to the woman he pulled over. But it's what happened in the weeks since that police officials say crossed the line. Channel 4's Alana Otler explains.
When a Mount Juliet police officer pulled a woman over on Lebanon Road, he claimed it's because she had expired tags. Turns out, she didn't. What happened next, we will never know. Officer Drew Jackson shut off his dashcam video and microphone. When the woman came home, her boyfriend heard her side of the story.
He said that I'm not allowed to do this. I can get in trouble for it, but I cut my camera and mic off. But I'm gonna let you go, but don't you take my number.
In this letter to city officials, Jackson admits he gave the woman his personal cell number. And that's not all. The officer let her slide on something she did lack, a valid license.
That's another thing that we don't do. Her license being suspended, they're suspended from the state. And so that's somewhat of a state violation.
Chief James Hambrick fired Jackson just 4 days later. In his appeal letter, Jackson wrote, "I chose to give this lady a break. She was a single parent and more than likely could not afford the citation." Just hours later, that lady heard from Jackson again. According to these Facebook messages, she heard from him at least 4 times that night. The woman claimed she had never met Jackson, but Jackson had tried reaching her before, more than 2 years before the traffic stop.
Use his police cruiser to gain access to know her, to meet her. It's beyond respectable.
That type of conduct is nothing that we condone. We are professionals, and we should carry ourselves in a professional manner as well.
Jackson didn't want to comment on this story. Officials confirm he violated several rules, giving out a personal number, failing to write a citation, and of course, shutting off his dash cam.
Cameras are there to help us, you know, in cases like these. If somebody, oftentimes people can make accusations on an officer that such and such happened.
When he was fired, Jackson was actually still a probationary employee. He had only been working for the police department for about 3 to 4 months. The city upheld the decision to terminate him. Reporting in Mount Juliet, Alana Altler, Channel 4 News.
A school bus driver is now in jail, accused of raping a 16-year-old boy on 2 separate occasions. Police say Patrick Pendleton was arrested after the victim's mother called Springfield police, saying her son had been sexually assaulted. She said the first incident happened on a school bus in Gallatin. The second happened at the suspect's home in Springfield. Robertson County Schools say they have suspended Pendleton while they await an investigation. They don't believe there are any more victims involved. A Clarksville man's disappearance is now being treated as a murder. 80-year-old Bobby Dozier disappeared on Sunday night. Police found his dog the next day roaming along the Old Tennessee Trail in Henry County. The following day, they found his car abandoned in the very same area. And a short time later, they found his body in the woods.
The cell phone had been pinging Monday around the Tennessee Trail area, and the dog had been found. Mr. Dozier's dog had been found in Port Road. We were concentrating our search in that area.
Police say Dozier was reported missing in Callaway County, Kentucky, where he owns a lake house. They still don't have any suspects in the case.
There's still a lot of cleaning up to do at a motel and a brand new apartment building in Clarksville. Police say meth labs caused some damage at both of those locations overnight. 2 one-pot meth labs exploded at the Meadow Motel. 3 people were arrested. On the other side of town, another meth explosion at the Spring Creek Apartments triggered the sprinkler system in that building. 12 units were damaged by the water. No one's been arrested in that case. Well, firefighters know when there's an emergency, just one small detail could mean the difference between life and death. That is why some of Nashville's first responders are stunned that a key piece of equipment has not been up and running for 2 days. We are working for you, digging into the problem. Channel 4's Patrick McMurtry is live in Inglewood for us this evening. Patrick?
Tom, it turns out that this engine right here, this fire engine, was taken from Station 29 here in Inglewood, and taken over to Madison because the Madison truck was down. They didn't have a good backup because of maintenance issues, keeping the fleet running. An aging fleet is problematic, and when you've got a city that's growing as fast as Nashville, these things are going to keep happening. According to the Metro Fire Department, though, help is on the way.
I do not want to go to a family and tell them that your loved one has passed away because of an issue of equipment failure.
Mark Young heads the local firefighters union, and he's worried that old broken down equipment is putting firefighters and the public at risk. This engine was transferred to Madison for a couple of days, leaving the Inglewood station without a working engine. Metro Fire Assistant Chief Ricky White says his department does the best it can with the equipment it has and promises no property and nobody has suffered because of idle trucks because they have a plan in place.
We routinely have pieces of equipment out of service. We're just constantly taking one piece of equipment from one part of town and maybe moving it to the next district over or something like that. It's just the way you have to do things.
White says things will be a lot better for everyone when the department gets 11 new trucks next year. He says that will let the department get rid of the 11 oldest and make the reserve fleet a lot more dependable. He goes on to say any notion that this is a chronic problem is just plain wrong.
During the past 6 months, there's not been more than one engine or truck company closed due to mechanical failure for a significant period of time. The longest period of time we had one individual piece shut down was for 3 days.
White says there have been 8 or 9 times, though, when a station was down a truck for 1 day because of problems, and that Metro's GSA is responsible for keeping the fire trucks running. His team is responsible for manning the engines and putting out fires. Young says that's very hard to do when the firefighters use trucks and equipment they can't fully depend on.
Part of my job is to make sure that the men and women of the Nashville Fire Department are safe and that they're in safe equipment. With what we're in now, it is unsafe.
And I'm told by longtime firefighters the issue really happened several years ago when the fire department moved their maintenance program over to GSA, the General Services Agency. Firefighters say once that happened, there just isn't the sense of urgency to get the equipment back up and running as soon as possible as there was when the fire department took care of their own maintenance. Either way, that's the issue. White says they're going to have to live with it until they get those new trucks in. That should, he said, solve a lot of the problem. Reporting live, Patrick McMurtry, Channel 4 News.
Well, it happened in the blink of an eye, but it could take days to clean up after a bad crash in Murfreesboro. Police say Michael Reynolds drove his pickup through a red light at the corner of Clark and Jones and slammed into another car. He then drove through a churchyard, hit a fence, smacked into the back of an apartment building, and finally came to rest in a family's yard.
Came by and scraped the front of David's truck and then hit the road and completely made a donut around here, knocked all the garbage cans.
Police say Reynolds was driving drunk. The woman in the car he hit was taken to the hospital but expected to be okay.
Stay with us. It was a sentence that many thought was too lenient. Coming up, here are the reason behind a last-minute plea deal that could eventually set a convicted killer free.
We've had some more of those pesky clouds again today. We're watching some showers that are off to the north. We could actually see a little of that activity coming our way a bit later tonight. I'll tell you about that just ahead.
And who's telling the truth? The group trying to save historic Studio A is firing back at claims from the studio's new owners.
And still ahead at 6:30, we'll chat with the America's Got Talent star who has a real chance of bringing the million home to Franklin. Hear what he's saying about tonight's finale right here on Channel 4.
Channel 4 News, home of forewarned weather.
The group trying to save the historic RCA Studio A on Music Row is disputing claims that the building is beyond repair. Ben Folds and some of the other artists who recorded there say the property owner more than doubled the rent, claiming he needed more money to make repairs. They claim the studio was overrun by mold and asbestos and was on the border of unsafe. But the group trying to save the studio says that's not true, that the building's condition was never even brought up during the sale. They say they plan to release their own report about the condition of the property next week.
We are still more than a month away from Election Day, but there is already a lot of buzz surrounding an amendment on the ballot. Now, this vote could settle a tax debate that's been going on for years. Channel 4's Carly Gordon has the story.
These were the sounds of those protesting an income tax in Tennessee. And this was the sight. Protesters got so upset they threw rocks through the Capitol's windows. In 2002, Tennessee came just 5 votes short of getting an income tax. And tonight, the issue has come up again.
So now's the time to put that final nail in the coffin by voting yes on 3.
Senator Brian Kelsey is sponsoring Amendment 3, which would forever prohibit an income tax in Tennessee. Kelsey argues having one will create problems.
We have seen that states that do have an income tax, like Illinois, when they live by the income tax, they die by the income tax, and they had to raise their income tax 67% just 3 years ago.
Banning an income tax, he says, will create new jobs.
Not having an income tax has already brought jobs to Tennessee, and not being able to tell employers that we will never have an income tax is only going to bring more jobs to the state.
Kelsey says yes on 3. Dick Williams says no.
We really shouldn't be enshrining tax policy in our Constitution.
Williams thinks eliminating the possibility of an income tax will force lawmakers to raise others.
As it'll essentially lock in our reliance on sales tax, use tax, consumer taxes.
He also asks, why should we make decisions now for others in the future? It's one of this year's big issues that's sure to drum up a heated debate. That's why both sides are working hard to gain support. Those in favor of Amendment 3 start tonight.
We are kicking off the Yes on 3 campaign tonight at 7 o'clock at the Fontanelle with the world's largest non-rigid blimp with some free country music and free food and drinks.
Reporting in Nashville, I'm Carly Gordon, Channel 4 News.
Coming up next, why would a murder victim's family agree to a plea deal that could eventually set a killer free? It's all because of one person who wasn't a part of the case.
Randy Maidens was facing life without parole. Now, with good behavior, he could be out of jail in just 21 and a half years. Why would Rachel Maidens' family agree to this reduction? Because of someone they care about even more, the couple's daughter.
Well, it looked like an open and shut case. Randy Maidens was accused of shooting his wife Rachel to death in their Brentwood home, and all of the evidence seemed to point toward him. But yesterday, Maidens cut a last-minute plea deal that could eventually set him free. What happened? Channel 4's Dennis Ferrier has some answers tonight.
Randy Maidens was facing life without parole. Now with good behavior, he could be out of jail in just 21.5 years. Why would Rachel Maidens' family agree to this reduction? Because of something they care about even more, the couple's daughter. It happened so fast no one even knew it was happening. Close friends and co-workers of murdered orthodontist Rachel Maidens didn't even know that Randy Maidens was going to plead guilty. But it was the way the family wanted it. Over with no fanfare, no publicity. Our only evidence, the audio recording where family member Karen Carter made it clear why the family let Randy Maidens plead down.
His punishment is far too light for the brutality of the evil that he's done. We would like to point out that there would not have been any consideration of a plea agreement for this senseless and horrible murder of Rachel, but that for the fact that and what's best for is the most important thing in this case. Brent and Betty have accepted this plea solely with regard to what's best for this child.
The family said Rachel had only asked him to move out for 1 week after he went drinking one Saturday, leaving his 2-year-old alone in the crib all day. He wouldn't leave. Instead, he killed his wife. Maidens admitted he murdered his wife not just in court yesterday, but on the night of the murder when he left an apology note. He apologized again yesterday in court.
Every morning, I hope to wake from this horrific nightmare which I have brought upon our families. You welcomed me into your family, and I destroyed it. I wish I could trade my life for Rachel's and bring you back your daughter, Natalie, her mother. I understand that it is not fair, nor will it ever be fair. Brent, I'm so sorry for the loss of your sister. You are enduring unimaginable pain. Natalie, my daughter, I can never express how sorry I am for taking your mother away from you. You have lost both of your parents, and it is all my fault. No prison is worse than what I have inflicted upon myself.
But now with second-degree murder, Maidens could be out of prison in 21.5 years. He could be out of jail at the age of 64.
I think there is a great recognition that there is a young child involved in this case, and closure is necessary and appropriate as it relates to the care of that child, and so that that child can move forward.
And in fact, Rachel Maidens' family pointed out that this little girl, now 4, misses her mother so much and cannot even stand to be out of the sight of her grandmother, who she asks over and over again to promise that she will never die. So there has been so much damage done. This little girl who lost a mother and a father in the same moment.
Now, forewarned weather, rated Middle Tennessee's most accurate forecast.
It seems like it's getting better. Is it getting better?
What is better? More of the same.
We're okay.
It's still cool,
yes,
definitely. And the clouds hanging out again today, but there's some sunshine in this forecast, and summer is not quite over. So let's get a look. We're talking about a pleasant evening tonight. Overnight, we actually could see a sprinkle or two. Not everybody will even notice that, but there's a possibility a raindrop could hit your windshield. And then we have another nice day coming tomorrow. Nice in terms of a bit more sunshine and also some slightly warmer temperatures and a warm up as we are headed toward the weekend. But here's our view today where we were battling it out with the sun and the clouds. This pretty shot coming in from Waynesboro, which by the way, I'm headed to Wayne County tomorrow afternoon. Looking forward to that. But we appreciate our viewers for sending this in. You can also send us a picture. Just send it to pics@WSMV.com. This is the live camera over downtown. Love that orange pink glow there in the background where the sun is getting low in the sky. And there are a few clouds still overhead for you in Bell Buckle, but we've been seeing a little bit more sunshine as we've moved into the evening hours. 71 degrees right now from downtown with 76 the high temperature there today. Bell Buckle reported 67. Last check was 74 their high, and it's 71 in Hopkinsville and a cooler 65 over in Kingston Springs. The high temperature there for the day at 72. Right now, Nashville International has a mostly cloudy sky, 70 with the dew point at 57. The relative humidity coming in at 63% and
and a southeast wind reported this hour. We did make it up to 74 degrees today, despite the fact that those clouds were really hanging in there for quite some time. 82 is the average high for this date, and 55 was our cool start to the day, and we'll do something similar to that tomorrow morning. So a little chill in the air as you get up and get going. Now looking at what we're seeing for our pollen count for this day, it's checking in right now with 7.749. I was close for tomorrow. In the medium high category with grass and ragweed, the two main concerns there. Temperatures all across the mid-state look like this: 68 from Cookeville, 69 degrees over in Clarksville, and 68 is the latest coming in from Tullahoma. Pulling out a bit, our forewarned live Doppler radar, that's the red sweep that you see here, is sweeping pretty dry right now, just picking up a few showers in West Tennessee, and you get a better look at that as we switch over to that Memphis radar, a part of our forewarned network that shows the showers coming in from Arkansas. There are actually a few a little farther off to the north too, into Illinois and also into Indiana. And whenever you get a northerly flow like this, sometimes you get these disturbances coming through, and that's what's happening here. That's why we have the clouds and that slight chance of a sprinkle overnight tonight with that little system riding in overhead tonight. But most of the stormier weather is farther to the south along that old frontal boundary that you see here, and for us, just the clouds and also a sprinkle or two across the area. So as we go through the night tonight, overnight hours, maybe a sprinkle, that's about it, pulling on by, and then we will have a little patchy fog developing once again in the morning for tomorrow. So here's how we'll put things together tonight. Pretty pleasant out there with 71 degrees, but we do have those overnight showers, a possibility, and really a sprinkle. 56 in the morning, some fog, 75 at lunchtime, 80 degrees by 4 o'clock. And there's your forewarned forecast. It shows that warm up I was talking about Friday into Saturday with some showers and thunderstorms in the forecast late in the day on Sunday, and temperatures dip again.
Lisa, thank you. New allegations of rape are coming to light on a local university campus. We'll bring you the latest tonight at 10.
And coming up at 6:30, a Tennessee father wanted to teach his teenage son a lesson on drinking, but it's what he did that police say crossed the line. Next, our exclusive interview with Quintavious Johnson, the local boy who's making waves on America's Got Talent. And tonight, his big night, the finale, what he has to say about taking home the title.
Yeah.
For D10, you're going to be on camera 3.
All right.
Yeah, you're going to toss Haley on 3.
It's a new special effect we have.
Make your talent disappear. What's this new thing we're testing out?
I'll take that belt pack off your hand.
Why did I go?
Thanks. How about it? On my pack here. That's up, Jesse. I'll put a new battery at your place. They seem good for nothing.
Quintavious is so silly. Oh my gosh. Our Skype interview, he like lashed all the way through. Does he act like Urkel? Because he looks like a mini Urkel. No, he doesn't. I meant that in a good way. No, he doesn't. He's really. DK, can you look at 3 really quick? Set your shot there. He looks like such a middle schooler with his braces and everything.
I love it.
He's gonna grow up and be like.
It'd be funny if he shows up on stage with like a headgear.
Haley, mic check, please.
No way. He's a young man who
He's a young man who really needs no introduction. This Franklin native would sing in church before he could barely talk. Before he could...
Tell him we don't have any scripts to shuffle around, so we doesn't name anything right now.
You see the stars? No.
Working for you in high definition. This is Channel 4 News at 6:30.
If you think The Voice is amazing, wait until you hear the backstory of the 12-year-old boy poised to win it all on America's Got Talent. Good evening. Welcome to Channel 4 News at 6:30. Tonight we find out if Quintavious Johnson can win the title on the season finale of America's Got Talent.
I like to say he dresses like Urkel, but he sings like Luther. And win or lose, he's already a superstar in his hometown of Franklin. But the path to stardom has not been easy for this young man or his family. Channel 4's Haley Mason has the family's incredible story for you tonight.
He's a young man who really needs no introduction. This Franklin native would sing in church before he could hardly talk, and that gift was just the prelude as he's taken his talents to the national stage. Well, tonight it all comes to a head. Should he be America's pick? Take a listen. I'll let you decide. You see the stars? No way, no way.
He's one of America's favorites. Quintavious Johnson, the little boy with the big voice. Before he took the national stage by storm, he got his humble start in Franklin, in the youth choir at Limestone Baptist Church. He was barely 3 years old when he first joined the gospel choir.
He's always had just a passion for singing. And even at a very young age, you could tell that the quality of his voice and the spirit that he sung with was just deep within him. It was spiritual.
From Franklin to the streets of New York City, we caught up with Quintavious on his manager's iPhone.
Today is gonna be crazy for me.
He shared his secrets of how he gets ready for the big show.
First thing I pray, and then I act silly as always, and then that's about it. And then I go perform, and then I just black out because I go into this zone.
His aunt and mother Yolanda have been by his side, a single mom who's made tremendous sacrifices to help Quintavious realize his dream.
Oh, they're on cloud 9. They're super excited. They're just bouncing off the wall.
He's just 12 years old, but his soulful voice carries a maturity well beyond his years.
When you're around him, you can't help but be excited and happy.
And his character resonates even further.
I love you, Pastor Wayne McCullough, and all the family of Limestone in Franklin, Tennessee. I love you a lot. All of Nashville.
And a lot of people love him right back. Quintavious says his mom and aunt both sing and have basically just packed up their lives here to help him out in New York. See if all their hard work pays off. The 2-hour season finale starts at 7.
We'll be watching, Haley. Thank you. Let's not forget there is another Tennessean in the mix for the title. Emily West is also a finalist. Emily lived here in Nashville for a few years trying to break into country music. The 2-hour season finale kicks off in less than a half an hour, and you can watch it right here on Channel 4.
Well, despite an official from the Pentagon saying he might recommend U.S. ground troops to fight ISIS, the president again ruled that out. President Barack Obama says he wants Syrian ground troops and Iraqis to take on ISIS. He also gave a warning to the terror group after they posted a propaganda video meant to warn American troops.
Our reach is long. If you threaten America, you will find no safe haven. We will find you eventually.
Congress is set to pay $500 million to arm and train Syrian rebels. Congress and the president fear that ISIS will strike America if something can't be done to stop it. Well, one father tried to teach his son a lesson on drinking, but a lesson like this had backfire written all over it. A Tennessee man was jailed for aggravated child abuse. Police say Mark Hughes tried to teach his son a lesson when he caught him drinking by making the teen drink so much that he passed out.
Try to teach the youth, don't be drinking, don't be doing drugs, and here you've got a parent figure, that's contributing to the problem.
Witnesses say Hughes forced his son to play a drinking game using straight liquor. The teen was flown to a children's hospital and was released the next day. Police did not release any information on the teen's blood alcohol level.
Coming up, more fallout from the NFL. Why all the controversy surrounding the league has brought a new battle into the spotlight.
And it looks like any other thrift store, but this Nashville shop has an unusual business model that's helping a lot of people in need.
Nashville's Nolensville.
All this big thing on Robin Williams' first wife. Tell me it's not Zena.
Oh my.
Channel 4 News, home of forewarned weather.
Good bargains and a pledge to pay it forward are what drive sales at the Thrift Smart store on Nolensville Road in Nashville. The store promises that all of its profits serve 4 different charities that help make a difference worldwide. Channel 4's Terry Bulger tonight with more.
Nashville's Nolensville Pike is this city's corridor of cultural diversity. Mexico, Somalia, Cuba, Turkey, and a half dozen other countries are represented in areas along that road. And one very big store there hasn't forgotten that melting pot heritage.
My job today is whatever needs to be done. That's my job today.
Antonio Johnson just said the sentence of the perfect volunteer, a willingness to do whatever's needed. And there's a lot here that needs to be done. All those clothes in the back must be cleared from the clutter and wind up on Tony's perfectly placed hangers.
And also there's a lot of hangers on the floor, so.
This is Thrift Smart,
a store designed for donations and deals, inexpensive secondhand clothing, books headed to help improve literacy in countries like Belize, and nonstop shipments overseas to poor countries. All profits designated for low-income families here and there. And it wouldn't work without volunteers like Antonio.
I remember when I didn't have some things, growing up. So who am I to not help when I got help myself?
He grew up in New York City's Spanish Harlem neighborhood, one of 8 children, and never forgot the help given to his family by others many years ago. He understands the need.
It shouldn't be that way, So if this would help, then fine. I do what I can to help.
If a piano or old gymnastic pommel horse for sale brings money, that's a win. Same goes for finding more volunteers.
The other day I spoke to a lady and she was like, I take my son to karate and I need a place to do that hour and I'd rather come here and volunteer and help you all. I know your mission. And she's just really excited. So I was like, okay, sure, come whenever you want.
New volunteers are always welcome. Thrift Smart is located at 4890 Nolensville Road in Nashville. Terry Bulger, Channel 4 News.
Well, stay with us. Coming up, another off-the-field battle for the NFL, and this one could force some major changes in the league. And where's Garth Brooks headed next? The country legend announces the next stop on his comeback tour, and it's not far from us.
Hey. Do what? Oh, thank you. You mean off camera I'm looking good? Sure, yeah, stand by one. Okay. IFP from whoever is back there, please. Oh my goodness, I can't keep track. Is this permanent or is this today or what's? Okay. Nah, nothing. No, I'm just giving you the cold shoulder. Wah, wah, wah.
The NFL continues to scramble as pressure from the public relations and legal blitz against the league builds. McDonald's
Tonight, more twists and turns for the NFL's off-the-field roller coaster. Two more star players, right in the middle of two separate controversies, have agreed to sit out for the time being. Meanwhile, the NFL is fighting another battle, convincing their big money sponsors to stay. Here's NBC's Jay Gray.
The NFL continues to scramble as pressure from the public relations and legal blitz against the league builds. McDonald's, GM, Bridgestone, and a growing list of other major sponsors, including the NFL's biggest partner, Anheuser-Busch, have all put the league on notice that they're closely watching the ongoing controversies and the NFL's response. But they've still stopped short of ending their relationships with the league.
The average NFL sponsor gets back more than $2 in profits for every dollar they spend on the sponsorship. It's really hard for them to want to give that up.
The Minnesota Vikings have lost a corporate sponsor, and after initially suspending, then reinstating Adrian Peterson, who faces child abuse charges, they've again removed their star running back from the roster and all team activities until his legal issues are resolved.
It's never too late to get it right. And the fact we're getting it right now, I think it's best for all parties concerned, the Vikings and for Adrian, to move forward.
Greg Hardy, convicted of domestic abuse but appealing that decision, is expected to be pulled from the lineup by the Carolina Panthers. While Ray Rice is trying to get back on the field, the Players Union is now appealing his indefinite suspension after video showed him knocking out his fiancée in a casino elevator. The off-field controversies continuing to overshadow anything happening on the field as America's most popular sport begins week 3 of its splintered season. Jay Gray, NBC News.
Garth Brooks has announced the next step on his comeback tour, and it's only a short drive away for many of us. The country icon is taking his talents to the bluegrass state. He'll perform 2 shows at Lexington's iconic Rupp Arena, October 31st, Halloween, and November 1st. As always, there's some room to add more shows in Kentucky if fans want tickets. This will be Garth's first show in Kentucky since 1998.
Now, forewarned weather, rated Middle Tennessee's most accurate forecast.
All right, Dan's here. Bring the sun back, please.
Okay, tomorrow.
That easy?
Easier said, yeah.
You don't need a wand or anything?
Do you have any requests for the winter?
Yes. Not a whole lot of snow.
Yeah, no snow.
No sub-zero freezing temperatures. How about that?
Wish I had the power.
Yeah.
But we do have the power to at least tell you what we think will happen, what we feel confident about happening. And that for tonight is more clouds to move on through, and perhaps in a couple of spots, a sprinkle or two, really no big deal. And notice 4-1 Live Doppler sweeping out of Nolensville. That 4-1 Live Doppler in red shows real-time data, and it shows a couple of sprinkles just north of Parsons trying to move toward Perry County. And there's that possibility we'll have a few more overnight tonight, but it's going to be inconsequential, not make any difference for your lawn, for your garden, or for your farm. So very little rain is in the forecast for tonight. More pleasant weather is in the forecast for tomorrow and Friday as well. More sunshine tomorrow, and then on Friday, partly cloudy to mostly sunny. And a very warm weekend still looking likely as temperatures climb well into the 80s both Saturday and Sunday as well. Here's a look at the last light, if you will. The sun goes down tonight around 6:52 or 6:53 or so. So it's getting lower in the sky. Notice how the clouds that have moved in today. It's been a relatively cloudy day around midday. We did have some more sunshine. This is a new deck of clouds that's moved in with that weather system to give us a couple of sprinkles tonight. And with that, we've got 70 in Nashville. It's 57 for the dew point and 63% humidity. So today the air is dried out, but it has been cool today. And 70 is the warm spot in Nashville. All surrounding spots are back into the 60s. We've got 64 right now in Pleasant View, 69 in Murfreesboro. It's in the mid-60s in Lewisburg, and just 66 at this hour in Howell. White Bluff right now, Dixon County, just 63. So many spots tonight will dip back into the 50s as clouds start to break up by morning. So we got 4-1 Live Doppler and the 4-1 Advantage showing a few more showers just southwest of Jackson. And additional rain right now. It's very, very light. It's dissipating in the state of Arkansas. It's all with the weather system we've been tracking all day, and it's actually showing most of the clouds moving down toward Memphis and into northern sections of Mississippi, but we'll be sort of grazed by this tonight, so additional showers may develop, and the best chance of that will be south and west of Nashville. So here's the snapshot midnight tonight, variably cloudy. And then first thing tomorrow morning, again, just a stray shower or two. Breaking clouds, some spotty fog in some areas as well. Morning temperature tomorrow, 56 in Nashville. It was quite cool this morning. The coolest spots got down near 50 this morning. And so we should have mid-50s in Nashville tomorrow, and the lowest spots probably in the lower 50s. And then 75 at lunchtime. So a nice rebound by midday. Looking good outdoors. Northeast wind at 5. And then a northeast wind 5 to 10 tomorrow afternoon with a high temperature at 80 and a sunset at 6:50. Now here's Futurecast during the day tomorrow, and notice we put it in motion and the clouds sort of go away. So Tom and Demetria wanted some sunshine. We'll have that tomorrow for sure, and we'll have that continuing into Friday and the start of the weekend as well. Then more clouds move in late Sunday. 80 for the high tomorrow, as I said, 84 for the high on Friday. So the warm-up really gets going for Friday, and then 85 on Saturday. Some spots southwest of Nashville may get into the upper 80s on Saturday, and then low to mid 80s on Sunday, increasing clouds late. Some showers, perhaps a couple of thunder showers with our next cool front, and that will drop us back a little bit as we get into Monday afternoon. Certainly so into Tuesday, high temperature 78 and just 75 for Wednesday of next week. So some much cooler air builds in behind this cool front for the start to middle of next week as fall begins.
Coming up in sports, how do the Titans put that sloppy game against the Cowboys behind them with a playoff team waiting in the wings? We're going to tackle that issue next in sports.
You know, we absolutely have the 24-hour rule. You know, we don't want to sit and sulk in our field.
Rudy, those baby pictures are so cute.
That little thing doesn't look 5 months old.
We were able to put the first half behind us and go out and move the football in the second half. Now we need to execute a little better when we have opportunities to score and stuff. But
and paid good money.
I thought we did a great job.
Because I going out there watching the film, I had
time. Yeah. I hate to see her going. She doesn't cry much. Association asked me again if there's a chance to have us get together.
You know, we absolutely have the 24-hour rule. You know, we don't want to sit and sulk in our feelings and feel pity on ourselves or anything like that.
Well, it's time to move on. That's what the Titans are saying today. They can't afford to look back with a trip to Cincinnati to take on the undefeated Bengals, staring them in the face. But it sure would help to get that bad taste out of their mouths from the loss to the Cowboys. A sloppy first half, especially with Jake Locker and the offense, and none of them can really explain why. But at least Jake fought back in the second half, and that's something you can hang your hat on.
We were able to put the first half behind us and go out and move the football in the second half, and now we need to execute a little better when we have opportunities to score and stuff. But I thought we did a great job within that game of putting that behind us and moving on.
I don't know about you guys, but I've seen Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and all these other guys have bad games, bad halves. You know, I acknowledge Jake missed a couple of throws, but there was a couple of other situations where other guys broke down.
But you do like a guy who just stands up and tells it like it is. Jarrell Casey had 2 sacks in the Cowboys game, but he still says he had a lousy afternoon.
Because I going out there watching the film, I had, if you see up there on the wall, I've been talking about it all week, I had 11 mess-ups. So, you know, having 11 mess-ups in one game is unacceptable, and I never had it before. So I think that's probably why, you know, I kind of didn't really harp on the sacks that much.
Well, that's what you want. He's a team captain, and he wants to stand up and do it right. First, Ray Rice, we had the report before, and now the fallout on the Vikings running back Adrian Peterson continues and intensifies. Nike had dropped him as a sponsorship today. Peterson, accused of beating his 4-year-old son, was taken off the Vikings active roster, placed on an intriguing concept called the exempt commissioners list that lets him pay him while he stays out of the public eye and doesn't play. Peterson has taken responsibility for his actions. He has an October 8th court appearance set. Following suit, the Carolina Panthers today placed Greg Hardy on the exempt commissioners list as well, which puts the problem on the shelf while Hardy works out his conviction on a July 15th assault on his girlfriend and threatening to kill her as well. He has appealed. He faces a jury trial on November the 17th, but he'll be paid while he does that. And Florida State quarterback Jameis Winston will be riding the bench for the first half of his team's game against Clemson on Saturday. The Heisman Trophy winner was suspended for shouting obscene and vulgar comments in the school's student union. Florida State's interim president said student athletes are the school's most invisible ambassadors, and they have to carry themselves with dignity. Crazy stuff in the sports world right now.
Way too much. Way too much.
End.
That's it for Channel 4 News at 6:30. Thanks so much for joining us.
See you at 10.
Go, Quintavious.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Channel 4 News, home of forewarned weather, rated Middle Tennessee's most accurate forecast.